Welcome everyone to this short video to tell you a little bit about a one-day urban retreat in Singapore called Unfurl that is brought to you by me, Joanna Manikji of Sunny Acres, and Abhilasha Krishnan of Thriving Habitats.
I'd love for us to explore the three pillars on which we have built the Unfurl experience. And as we unpack this, your expertise in the instructional design space becomes very apparent in how thoughtfully this is being pulled together and is very reflective of and incorporates the adult learning cycle and requirements.
Indeed, we bring our individual pieces of expertise to Unfurl. If Unfurl is a one-day program or a one-week program or a program of a lifetime, we believe that it needs to have three parts. The first is dynamic balance, which Abhilasha will lead. The second is creative contemplation, which is an art-based practice that I lead. The third is more of a place where we choose to have our Unfurl experiences, which is nature. We believe that nature is a really important home for Unfurl. It reflects a relaxed, balanced state of things that we want for ourselves.
Dynamic balance is a philosophy or an approach where we understand that balance is not a place to be, a destination to arrive at, or an experience to be acquired. Balance is a state of being, a perspective, and it shifts. Its nature is to calibrate and to fall into rhythm and resonance with the surroundings, and to use those rhythms to guide that feeling of being centered and that feeling of being fully resourced for what the moment asks of us. When we think about the flexibility and the ability to understand that multiple truths or multiple perspectives might exist and our own point of view on something could shift based on where we are. And all of those are valid and welcome and serve a purpose. Flow is what guides us into that level of flexibility and that ability to find the moment to moment state of balance. That experience almost all of us have had at some point or the other, where things just seem to happen naturally. The resistance is low, the momentum is high, time dissolves in some ways, we lose sense of who we are. The internal chatter really quiets down. We are effectively our experience, or we're flowing with that experience. When these three elements of balance, flexibility, and flow are things that we not only become aware of, but can intentionally access, that leads to a path of mastery and integration. And we're able to ask ourselves much deeper questions around what our purpose is, how that purpose is best served, who do we want to serve through living that purpose, leading the way to a much deeper fulfillment where the well springs of it lie inside of ourselves and not in external markers and what the world tells us we should be chasing or what the world tells us we should be aspiring towards. So that's really what dynamic balance is about. And we use group coaching and journaling as ways to unpack the route that we use for moving into that insight-friendly space is by using the instruments that are available and accessible to us at all times. Our bodies, our breaths, and this moment. This moment that contains both our understanding of the many paths that we've had and our aspirations and hopes for the many futures that we see. So how do we bring all of that into the now and use our body as a way to understand the rhythms that exist in life and how best we can respond to those rhythms? to be more integrated in our decision making and to be more purpose aligned and live from that core source of who we are and how we want to show up in this world.
Beautifully put, Abhilasha. I too experienced this with you when we were rehearsing for Unfurl, and I absolutely love the idea that our bodies are our teachers and they're with us all the time if we listen. And dynamic balance certainly opens the door to all of that world. In the context of Unfurl, I would love to bring this contemplative and meditative art making process to all of you using collage as the art form. I've been a collage artist for about 20 years. And one of the things that struck me as I reflected on my practice actually was how calm it made me. It really put me into this meditative state in which time slowed down and I was able to focus very deeply on what I was doing and, in a sense, unlocking huge amounts of creative energy, which led to a feeling of wellness. And I call this a virtuous cycle. And if I could wave a magic wand, I would wish that everyone had a creative practice because all creative practices actually help you to feel well. And there's a lot of research being done at the moment on the neuroscience of art and how it significantly impacts wellness. Creative contemplation is a process that I've designed that prepares people for greater levels of awareness and insight through guided visualizations. The process of collage making itself, which I must let everyone know, we keep extremely simple because one of the things that I think is very important is that we not feel at all judged or anxious about the thought that we need to make art. A lot of people haven't had very positive experiences with making art. Maybe it's how our education system has evolved. But for me, collage is a very accessible art form and one that allows everybody to make a thing of beauty. In that collage making, we end up expressing what is significant and consolidating a lot of thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are coming up for us during that art making process quite miraculously. And then I like to use the energy created by all of that for us to take some meaningful action. Now, in the context of Unfurl, what we will be doing for our one-day retreat is using this process to consolidate the insights that the first half of the day have conjured up for individuals and gather those insights and put them down somewhere as a visual reminder to you when you leave to take that insight with you and take action. If you're in and this sounds like a great way to spend your day, please scan the QR code, which will take you to an Eventbrite invitation where you can learn even more about Unfurl, but also sign up. So thank you for your time, for joining Abhilasha and me today to hear more about the program.
Feel free to reach out to either one of us, and we hope to see you on the 29th for Unfurl's one-day retreat.